I'm sorry, please go away. Go. I don't need you here. Close the door behind you. Lock it, actually. No, you go. You have nothing to find here.
But I need the quarter.
No, go. Pull the door.
Hello?
Good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah, you guys haven't started. I could hear you near a song. Personally Divine, he was on.
Okay. Waiting.
Need Divine was on, but you can go ahead. I mean, he was on earlier. I don't know what happened.
Oh, all right.
I don't know what happened to him, but it's 2:04. I thought you guys had already started.
Yeah, I thought I was waiting on him.
No. The show has to start. He was on there. You know, the show has to start at 2 or 3 your time. He died.
3 hour time.
Yeah, I'm driving, you know, so.
Okay, all right.
You can just go ahead, you know.
All right.
Victorious. I don't know what happened to him.
Good afternoon. This is Africa Online, and the topic today is African time and punctuality. Are we there? We hope that Divine is at the other end, and we will start the program with the reflection. Africa time is one of the things that concerns many of us, but today we're not going to start right away with African time, because Africa Online's live broadcast this Sunday, March 10th, opens with words of sadness and sympathy. We learned earlier in the day of that crash of an Ethiopian Airlines flight from Addis Ababa to Nairobi in Kenya. We joined Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the Ethiopian people, and the international community in this sad moment to express our condolences to all those that lost loved ones on that flight ET302. Many of us in North America woke up reluctantly this morning, not because of that crash, but because of a traditional thing that we do up in North America. We lost 1 full hour of sleep after springing forward our time devices last night. It is daylight saving time up here in North America, or the practice of advancing clocks during summer months so that evening daylight lasts longer while sacrificing normal sunrise times. That is the definition given by Wikipedia. So last week, when we detailed some of the happenings in the month of March, we inadvertently left out two events. That is the International Women's Day, which passed on, was it Friday or Thursday the 8th, and St. Patrick's Day. Well, don't ask me why. Well, some of those things happen, and when we jump them, we come back later. So, but down memory lane, we know of something also called the Ides of March. We wonder if that has happened or if it happened this year, but it always happens anyway. Even though the day's topic, Africa time and punctuality, is the one that we'll be discussing today, we will honor Africa's women in particular and women in general, just by borrowing from South Africa's Lucky Dube, who sang, "God Bless the Women." We will not bring you that sound, but we'll just say that yes, God bless the women for their own resiliency, their tireless ability to stand up for that which is right. And Lucky Dube regrets in his song that we praise heroes, but never women. Those resilient and hardworking daughters of Eve who give up everything. They never run away from responsibility. They always stand out and stand up and fight for fairness and a level playing field. We ask, what would the world be like if women were given a chance to exercise power, real power, I mean, that is economic, political, financial, social, and so on, so that they make a difference. Men have been in control for too long, and things always go wrong. So why don't we give women a chance to see how differently they will do things? They will bring us together. They will unite us. they will end wars, and they will ensure that we live better lives than the men have made us live. So we honor the women, we celebrate them, and we borrow from many people to say that the women have done their bit, they continue to do their bit, they never tire, they always do it. And of course, one of the women that said something about it was, well, we lost that one there. It disappeared from our system. But all the same, let us continue with our reflection on this day. As I said earlier, March 17 and March 19 are special days for two patron saints. St. Patrick is to the Irish, as St. Joseph is to those who passed through St. Joseph's College, Sase. Those are two patron saints of the month of March. They are coming up this coming week, and we praise and glorify their names because they inspire us, they guide us, and they hold us in the hollow of their hands. These are events or occasions that is celebrating these holidays or these feast days. They are events that usually start on time and always on a timely manner, no matter where you are. But let's ask you this. Did that service at your church today start on time? Or is your church, like most African countries, given up to scheduling some events at 9 a.m., but ending up starting at, say, 10 a.m. or maybe a little later, 11 a.m., or like in the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan area? Do we schedule our events to start at 7 p.m. and end up starting at 10 p.m., sometimes 11 p.m.? What is this concept of African time all about? Well, it is something that is akin to the entire continent, from north to south, from east to west, but particularly in West African countries where I have been to, and I know how the practices, many events never start on time. Who are we fooling? Who are we tricking? When we come to North America or go to the diaspora to other countries of the world, we sign in on time for duty, we sign out on time, we clock in on time, we clock out on time, but when it comes to social events in our communities, we don't do the same. So what is going on here? This is the topic Africa Online wants to discuss this Sunday afternoon. Are you with us? We are on Zoom. So please come in and say your piece. Thank you so much. Let the discussion begin.
Hello, Asonifak.
Yes, this is Asonifak. I was just doing the reflection in waiting for you to toss the first question or series of questions on African time and punctuality.
Now, from my remote location, I'm not able to say whether we have participants already on the line. Can anyone confirm that?
Reverend Palm is on the line, but she's driving, so she may be muted at this time, but she's driving. Yes, those are the... Okay, she's on, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Now, when I talk about African time and punctuality as only fan almost everybody is saying, I mean, I talk to Jamaicans and say, look, Divine, don't think it's only you know, Africans that have the problem of respecting time, scheduling events and events beginning on time. It's so, I talk to my friends, African Americans, it's the same scenario. So that leaves me wondering whether it's just an issue with Africans or descendants of Africa, whether they're in Cuba or they're... I really don't know what the issue is.
Africa. Nidiva, we can hear you.
Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now?
We can hear you, yes.
All right, so the question is whether it's an issue with descendants, let me put it broadly, descendants of Africa, because not only Cameroonians have, you talk to Nigerians, you talk to Ivorians, they have the same problem. Then you cross out of the African continent, talk to Jamaicans, leave that side to the Caribbeans, come to the United States, talk to African Americans, and everybody's talking about the same thing. People organize occasions and they just don't start when they're supposed to start. So the question is it an issue of color?
Well, it may not really be a question of color. It may just be something people grew up with in the different African countries. Because, I mean, the tendency is when we leave Africa, we do things on time, except our social events. we clock in on time, we clock out on time, we never go late for our jobs. But when it comes to that social event, that burn house, let me put it in a crude Cameroonian way, that burn house, it's supposed to start at 7 p.m. When do we start coming in? 10 p.m. When does the event finally start? 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m. So what is going on here? Has our growing up diverted us from the reality of time? Why should a watch no longer serve the purpose for which it was made, to look at it and attend an event on time? So what is wrong with us, the Africans? Because I know in other communities, when they say 7 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock, and if you come late, that's your business. So punctuality is something that we should put in our systems and work around with it and make sure that we respect it. Reverend Palm?
Yes, I really don't think it has anything to do with ethnicity or skin color or, I think it's a mindset thing. And, in reading one of Nia Song's editorials, I believe he also talked about the time scale. In Africa in those days, our forefathers used their shadow or the sunset to determine time, as opposed to the colonizers, their own time. So maybe that's the genesis of it, and I apologize if there's noise, I'm driving. Maybe that's the genesis of it, the fact that our own sense of time or our own benchmark was the shadow or the sunrise and sunset. Or most of the time in Africa, the rooster wakes us up in the morning. That's when some people even wake up. That's their own alarm clock. But I don't think it has anything to do with skin color. But one thing I want to say is that I think the organizers should stop accommodating latecomers by putting false start times on their invitations and then punishing or penalizing inadvertently the punctual people. For example, you invite me to an event for 6 o'clock. I'll be there at 6 o'clock. I'll actually get to your parking lot 5 or 10 minutes before time. But then I don't want to sit and wait for 3 hours for you to start the event. So I believe that is a mindset thing. And if we start, we start honoring time and being punctual, especially the organizers. For example, our event here, the Africa's Bend Back Summit, is going to start at 6 o'clock. There will be a red carpet for 1 hour from 6 to 7. The summit will go from 7 to 8:30, and then we'll have dinner. Anybody who comes late is going to miss whatever happened, because we're not going to, especially dinner, because this is going to be a 3-entree dinner. If you come late, you're not even going to have leftovers to eat, because the hotel don't keep food out more than 2 hours. So I would say, I think it might have been something that our foreparents grew up with before the colonizers brought this their clocks and watches. That would be my response to it. Back to you, Divine.
Well, our parents can get away with that explanation because back home they measure time with the shadow or the seasons. Rainy season, dry season, when the rivers dry off, when they fill up and all that stuff. But how do you explain people who are, we here, who have graduated from universities, been exposed to this culture? We organize occasions and they just don't start when they're supposed to start. What can be the explanation of it? So that's why I'm saying could be an ethnic thing, or because I really don't get it. Now, an occasion is scheduled to start at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. or 9 p.m., that's when they're connecting the cables. The DJ has not even showed up yet. And then those who are putting cables, hello, testing, hello, testing. And I've had to go early to occasions. My companions say, but Divine, are you the one who can open that occasion? I said, who should go and wait for you? Who should go wait for me? So that's the problem. And then worse still, we seem to honor those who arrive late. Remember the high table? Remember the DOs, the administrative officers back in Africa and Cameroon, for example? They come late. An occasion is supposed to start at 9 o'clock. They come at 12 o'clock. Everybody sits waiting for them. The high table, the more important, if I may call it so, the more important seats are reserved for them. They come in, everybody stands, they walk like, they walk like kings and queens to the high table. So in a way, we glorify those things. Maybe we're not doing that consciously, but inadvertently, yes, we glorify those things. That's why it's just a way of life. It's just become a cultural thing, just the way things are done? As only fan can make it.
Well, the way things are done, but we have to learn to do things according to the clock, because the sun doesn't shine in the night. If we go back to that early allusion of our parents, great-grandparents in the good old days, looking at the length the length of their shadow before going out for something. This day and time, we have watches. We have even watches on our cell phones. We should be able to look at that time and say, oh, this event is supposed to start at 6 o'clock. I better be there by 5:55 so that I don't run late. The other aspect of it is that we have made it, we have ingrained it in ourselves so much so that we tend to find difficulty adjusting. But it is important to adjust, because if you go late and everybody else comes late, we all leave late. But if we go on time, we can have time to chat around. We can have time to share good ideas, discussions, and so on after the event, and then we can stay longer and share ideas about the world, learning about each other, and so on. But unfortunately, it has become what it has become, and we are asking what can be done to change the African mentality, because I think it is an African issue. That's why it's called African time. What can we do? Because when you go late, you are showing disrespect to your host, you are showing disrespect to other guests, and you are making everybody else wait. Divine, when you talked about the administrators back in the continent, I used to be there early, set up and wait, but they always came, sent their runners to come and check if Tom, Dick, and Harry were already there. And if Tom, Dick, and Harry were not yet there, they waited and only came when they thought that their best friends were already in the hall, because they thought maybe that if they came, they would not have somebody to be chatting with. But if an event is set for 7 o'clock, let it start at 7 o'clock. The mindset thing should not be ingrained so much in us that we tend to, that we ignore the realities of what we are facing. Time, they say, is money. And time wasted is money not got, because we have to work for it. So that is my take on that piece for now. Reverend Pam, maybe.
Yeah. You see, the people that are here, again, when you leave Africa and you come to the United States and you hang around the same crowd from primary school, from secondary school, you meet your same neighborhood. It means you haven't even left Africa. You may have left physically, but you are still hanging around the same people that you were doing the same thing with when you were growing up. And I tell people all the time, when you become the biggest fish in a tank, it's time, for that, for you to find a bigger fish tank to get into. So the thing again is, we get comfortable with our homeboys and homegirls doing the same things, same old, and I think it's okay and it's not okay. Because time is money, like you rightly said. So I really don't want to call it a culture, because then we're labeling that as acceptable. But the good thing is that at AFRICAONLINE, we are changing that. At Africa's Brain Bank, we are changing that. And that's why our event is going to start on time, and we're going to follow the agenda. Back to you, Nia. So I think Divine just stepped away.
Yes, we have to continue the program, African Time and Punctuality. Are there any people online who want to share their points of view, who want to say how they've spent their time, how they've used time, have they respected the invitation and the time set for that event to start? Anybody, please?
Yeah, I think we have somebody else on the line. I don't know who, but we would like to hear from you. They are not on video, they're just audio.
Yes. Please come in and share your views. Yes, I hear somebody say,
Good afternoon. I think Reverend Pam is probably talking about me online.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I think Reverend Pam, you all have touched on the topic, and Reverend Pam has touched on a lot of those key points, like, when you live an environment, or when you don't really live it mentally, culturally, behaviorally, you really haven't left it. Like you said, people stay with the same group of people, and they behave the same way, and they do the same thing, and they think the same. And sometimes even people who come from Africa, they find it difficult, like when they are visiting, to see how we behave here, because we are not on time, and we hang around the same group. And I think one of the things is that there are no consequences. You know, you are invited somewhere for somebody who makes like $50 an hour, or $70 an hour, or $100 an hour, or writes or teaches or prepares for sermons. To go and sit somewhere for a whole hour is life. For me, time is life. Exactly. And if you invite me somewhere and I go there and you are not ready, or you're speaking in your dialect, all that stuff, I'm not coming back, period.
Exactly.
When I was younger and didn't understand life and the values and what God has given me, I could sit in those places. I don't do that anymore. So I think it's consequences. People tolerate it. People come late and they are tolerated. People, it's a matter of consequences and tolerance. And another thing somebody mentioned more than 20 years ago, not in joking, but he said it looks like Africans have a bipolar disorder. Because we go to work.
The devil, I reject that in the name of Jesus.
Yeah, we go to work on time. I show up on work on time. Everybody who comes here goes to work on time. But when we go to where we have to meet other Africans, we do not. So we disrespect each other and we tolerate it. I think that is the thing, because if we tolerate it, people are going to keep doing it. You know, so there are no consequences to tolerate it. We don't respect ourselves and we don't respect people. And I know a case about 15 years ago where a pastor was so mad, a priest. He just blessed the couple because they were even late for the wedding. He was a Catholic priest, he just, American, was a Cameroonian couple. He just blessed them and left. So they came late, very late. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just some point I think we need to stop, not just do it and do not tolerate it.
Yes.
Yes,
that is a good way.
Jump in. Yeah. Would you like for me? Your camera is not on. We allow the participants to turn on their cameras because we don't want to automatically turn it on and then somebody might be in their pajamas or something. So if you would like to turn on your video camera so we can see you, we appreciate that. But it's not mandatory. But we did not turn it on automatically because we don't want to catch anybody in an uncomfortable situation. I think Dr. Ogoji is on the line.
Hello? How do you know?
I have a satellite. You are my brother. Please turn on your video so we can see you. We can hear your audio.
How did I do that? I'm not tech savvy.
Let me see if I can turn it on for you. But go ahead, Dr. Ogoji.
And for me, if you can.
Oh, Lord. Okay, maybe I'll just leave the cameras automatically. I'm on my cell phone. Okay.
I'm on my cell phone too.
Wait, I'm sorry. Our sister that was talking, I didn't catch your name. I know your voice, but I couldn't catch your name. Your voice sounds familiar.
Esther Lamyon.
Esther, okay, all right. Esther, do you want me to turn your camera on?
No, I'm on my cell phone.
No, I mean, but your video camera. Okay, that's fine. Dr. Ogoji, let me see if I can turn on your camera. Let me get on my laptop. Dr. Ogoji, go ahead.
Well, we'll talk about lateness and failure to keep time. It's an unfortunate situation in Africa. And even it doesn't matter how long you live abroad, anything that doesn't have to do with work, we don't keep time. Even some people, trust me, have lost their job in this country because they keep going late and late and late and late and late. Yes, people have done it. Especially when they have alternative means of livelihood. They don't take their job seriously. They keep going late until they lose their job. It's a sad situation. It's something that I don't know how we're going to solve the problem because time is money. Time is money. If you cannot value your time, you cannot value. There's no way you can going to make progress. And that transpires the whole society back in Africa. People go to work when they want to go. They leave when they want to leave. People go to function when they want to go. Come back when they leave when they want to leave. Government meetings start late and end late. There's nothing that's organized, and that you can see the product of lack of organization, the way we do things down there. Of course, when you come over this part of the world and you want to work with time, then you work with time. You see the product of what we do here. So I don't know if there's a solution until we come to a point whereby you invite somebody for a meeting, he doesn't show up in time, you leave, function party. But again, if you have a party, you want people to come for the party, you say 7 p.m., nobody's there by 9, you close the party, there's no party. You know what I mean? So it's a to and fro thing that only we have to start at place of work. Go to work on time, then take it to other part of life. So it's a hard thing to do. I don't know how we're going to solve this problem.
Well, there's always a way to solve every problem. Maybe, like you said, for work purposes, well, we leave that to the individuals. But for our social events, like our born houses, our naming ceremonies, our weddings, I mean, I like that part that Esther brought about that priest blessing the couple and leaving. Because you cannot plan a wedding and you yourself, the bride and groom, come late. What do you expect of the people? So the priest was right to just bless them and leave. Because if we don't respect time, nobody else will. So there must be consequences when we don't respect time and do what we're supposed to do, because time, as we all agree, is money. That said, Reverend Pam, apart from maybe starting the event on time and cleaning up, even if people are standing at the door because they are late, what else, what other consequence can we bring forth to make sure that people begin to respect time?
Nielsen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you 100 on 100.
Okay, the thing is the organizers, it needs to start with the host. If you do an event, don't wait, start on time. If it's dinner, serve the dinner. Let latecomers come and watch the walls or eat the leftovers. Start the program. You see this Africaonline program? This March makes it 3 years. We always start on time. It doesn't matter how many participants are there, we start on time. There's been a time when you need a song, neither myself or any divine was available, and you kept the program going for 90 minutes. So it needs to start with the host. For example, when I do events, people show up on time because they know I start on time. Even on the prayer line, Sunday service, we start on time. So it needs to start with the host. And when people realize that you start your events on time, they'll start coming on time because they'll be embarrassed when they come, when the program is already in progress. So I think it has to start on time, and we should not just leave things as they are, you know, say, oh, it's African time, it's African culture. I reject that in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you. Yes. Dr. Ogoji, go ahead.
No, I just say amen. We have to reject that, you know.
Yes. Have you been victim to going late or going early and missing the whole thing?
Yes and no. I've been victims, you know. There was once I had an event once to attend, you know. By the time we got there, the food is finished. They were dancing. They were dancing, and then, yeah, and of course they try to bring food for you to eat. You know, in the past I would accept food, but recently I've gone to a party. You know, that was about last month. I was in a party in Oregon. So somebody came for the party when the party was almost half gone. He wanted food. So the person who was the host came to our table and got the leftovers. I want to warm it and give to this person. I said, wow. You know, and this is going to eat the food, thinking that she has been treated like a VIP. He came and got food. But this happened in front of me. The chef came and got us leftover, you know. I have to feed some guys, and took it into the kitchen and then brought food for the person. So anything can happen if you come late. Don't expect a special treatment. Don't think you are special. Maybe you're eating the leftover of other people without knowing.
That's right. That's right.
That's scary.
So talking particularly about myself and my groups out here, well, we're talking about social events in a way. They go to their jobs on time in a way. But when it comes to social events, there is always this lateness. So what we've started doing, we started 3 years ago actually, making sure that if there is food, they eat the food first and then they start the event. So that is what happens, except our wedding ceremonies where I've not seen that happen yet. But I hope that eventually they will start doing that so that people learn to be on time. Because we are doing a great disservice to ourselves by being late, permanently late, always and ever. So we need to do something. We need to change our mindsets. We need to change our approach to the way we use time, because time again, we keep saying is money. Don't waste it, please. You will need it at one time. And each day has only 24 hours. So you don't expect that an event planned for 9 p.m. will start a.m. and go till the next day or the next week or the next month. No, everything is scheduled. That's why they call it time. Time means a limited duration of an activity. Reverend Pam?
Yeah, actually, there is a party I attended last year in Atlanta, Georgia. This is my town people, my town people, our mama town. We did a convention. So it was hosted in a Holiday Inn in College Park there. And the hall we're using is used for church the following morning. The party didn't start until 11 o'clock or 12, even though it was scheduled for 7. Exactly 2 o'clock, they say you guys have to leave. We thought it's a joke. By 3 o'clock, the police was there.
That's right.
We have to pack our things and leave because the owner say, you know what, this hall has to be get ready for the church tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Of course, the police came and said, well, you guys have to leave. The music was stopped abruptly. People were packing their things and leaving. It was a shame.
Those are the consequences.
Yeah,
those are the consequences. Yes. So we need more of such to happen so that we, especially those of us in the diaspora, learn to do things on time. I know that, for example, I live in Prince George's County, but I work in Montgomery County. In Montgomery County, 2 a.m. is 2 a.m. The event has to end. In Prince George's, we can go 2 extra hours. I don't know if the administration knows that, but it happens that in certain events, in certain counties, some tolerance is showed. In others, they don't. But we, as the organizers and the attendees at this event, have to have a new mindset. Reverend Pam.
Yes, Dr. Ogoji, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm really happy because the thing is that those people that were at that event, the next time they are invited to your cultural event, they will make sure they go on time. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Because, okay, especially even paid events, people still go late. Okay, this is our event, you pay $100, the food alone and the entertainment is $75. If you come after dinner, you are not going to eat. You'll be hungry. We're not going to serve latecomers. And like you're saying that we inadvertently do things that enable latecomers, like giving special attention to latecomers, trying to get the kitchen to come and serve them. No way. We should not be rewarding bad behavior. It is bad behavior. And I know in our topics, we're not just talking about coming late, we're talking about following the agenda. I think as somebody who's planned events for many decades, I will advise hosts, if you are hosting an event and you know that you're not going to follow your agenda, please don't put the time on the agenda, don't print it. Because if you print an agenda, you better follow it. That would be my advice. If you're not going to follow the time, print the agenda without the specific time. So that way you don't look stupid. There is no point having an agenda that cannot be followed. Who are you kidding? Most of us here are professionals. Most of us here, our times are valuable. If everybody's time is valuable, don't waste people's time. I went to an event and we were supposed to start, at 9 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, they were saying that, I told them that they need to start. Somebody said, oh no, but the hall is empty. I said, so you want to wait until the hall is full before you start? I said, there are people that are here that came. When I got to the event, the DJ was not there. I called the organizer, I said, where's your DJ? She had to call the DJ to come, and that's one of the things. The DJ or MC cannot go late for an event, and even the host should not go late. There are people who host events and they go late. Think about it. If you invite me to your house and I come to your house and I ring the doorbell, there's nobody there, you think I'll come again? It's the same. You're hosting an event. You should be present to welcome your guests. All these are bad habits and they need to go. We cannot keep enabling or rewarding these people. So let me let the others speak.
Yes, sure. Yeah, Dr. Ogochi.
Yeah. We actually went for an event from my St. Bede's College. That was last year. Was it last year? In Atlanta again.
It was last year.
So one of the event was supposed to be hosted in somebody's house. We got there, he wasn't home.
Oh my God. Oh no.
And then we knocked and knocked and knocked and knocked and knocked and knocked and knocked.
Oh my God.
And finally, somebody came somewhere and opened the door. And then we were there for hours. There was no food. And the funny thing is that we have been riding on a limousine ride for the whole day and drinking. We're all hungry. And the food was still supposed to come from somewhere. In fact, me and the person have to drive out of that place and go almost 30 miles and gather the whole KFC chicken in one KFC, all the food there and bring it there. That's one day. The following day, the person supposed to host us again went there, was drunk the night before, and she was sleeping. We knocked and knocked and knocked and knocked. She couldn't open the door. Then somebody who knows her went to the back and entered the house. She was snoring. Oh, thank God, though, and went back to bed. Then we started taking care of ourselves. The host was drunk and couldn't take care of us.
Oh,
this
Lord.
is a convention.
Oh my God. Oh, no.
And I flew all the way from Washington to DC. And this one I got. No, this was Atlanta, please. The DC was better. The DC one that was 2 years ago. So Atlanta was horrible. Last year was DC, it was okay, it was well organized. So things happen.
This is not funny. We are talking about 2018. This is not funny. Let's hear from our sister, Esther.
I think a lot have been spoken. I think, like you said, if there's gonna be any change, it has to start with us. Because most of the time I hear, we talk about a lot, but we have to do something, because as a coach and etc., my thing is like, if you don't start, if nobody's going to start. When you start, you're going to look somehow, but other people are going to learn from it. Because if I have an event, I used to have events in the past, and I'm about to start again. I'm having one coming up in 3 weeks. I start on time. People knew me. All if the event starts at 6, dinner will be served at 6:30. Because like Reverend Pam said, it's really very disrespectful to get people to come out of their house. It takes time and planning to get something to wear, take a shower, you have babysitters or whatever you're gonna do, and then drive to an environment. And the people who invited you don't honor you. So we disrespect each other. So it really goes back to our own personal self-worth. Because if we hold ourselves in high esteem and we know who we are and our time, we will not do that to somebody else. But the thing, like I said, if you do that, I've gone recently, last year, like October, I was invited to be a speaker somewhere. And I said, okay, I called back. I said, what time is it starting and when am I speaking? But I'm not coming there to eat. I'm not coming back to XYZ that late at night. And they're like, oh, it's gonna start at 11. I'm like, well, okay, because I already know you. I will speak, but I gotta be out by midnight because I gotta be at church the next day. Then I get a call saying, oh, really? They're gonna be around 1:00 a.m. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I pull myself out of the speaking engagement. I said, I can't do it. But if we tolerate it, people will do that to us. Another thing with the lateness is that there are so many consequences that we don't really, there's a church, African church, there are some that start late. there are many people that when you talk to and coach them and do what, you know they need deliverance. You really know they need to be in church to talk to a pastor who has a higher anointing. But when it's an African church, this white or African Americans I talk to, they're not gonna come because the church is gonna start late. They're gonna have 9:30 on their calendar, or they're gonna start an hour late. So the people will not come. So there are really, really big consequences to this time issue. You know, so that's just a couple of things, you know, I want to mention. There's a lot more, but just a couple of things. We got to turn these invitations down. We ourselves have to start on time. I remember many years ago, I had an event, 11 p.m., somebody showed up. Nobody was in my place anymore. Everybody was gone. I said, everybody's gone. I even let them come in. I said, no, everybody's gone. Next time I had an event, they showed up on time. You know, so we have to like do it. We have to leave. If I go somewhere for dinner, and I will go on time, I'm the one who is being punished because I just have this thing with time. I don't know, like I'm there on time, but I've made a decision. I'm gonna be there for 30 minutes or an hour. When I start, so it doesn't start or whatever is happening, I'm leaving. If you don't get on time and start on time, I'm leaving. At my age, and I've been in this country almost like going to 30-something years more, I'm leaving. So there's really nothing I've gotten, I'm gained than what I'm gonna do and plan for other events. So for me, I get there on time. If it doesn't start, I have a timeline, I leave.
Thank you for that take, and very profound. Yes, Reverend Pam.
No, I am happy with what my sister is saying, because if you don't put your foot down, you know, people will keep taking you for granted. You know, somebody said, if you lay yourself down, I don't know who the author of this is, if you lay flat for people to walk on you, they will still complain that you're not flat enough. So it doesn't matter how much you accommodate them. Let's say you accommodate the people that come in 1 hour late. The people that come in, and you don't accommodate the people that come in 2 hours late, they will still complain that you accommodated other people and you did not. Or you didn't go far enough, you did not cook enough food, there wasn't enough drinks, there wasn't this, there wasn't that. So my point is that it has to start with the host. Look at what Dr. Ogoji said, and that's just last year. That's incredible. It's unbelievable that somebody will accept to host a convention or welcome people and they're not even home. Or they get so drunk, another one got so drunk, they had a hangover. There are responsibilities that come with this. It's not about people coming to see your mansion or see your furniture. It's about taking responsibility. Like Dr. Ogoji was saying, they who came out of town, they traveled, they risked their lives. Just today, Ethiopian Airlines crashed with 157 people that passed away. Air France almost crashed. And last week, a Turkish Airlines made an emergency landing. So every time people get on a plane to come to your event or to drive even, or even they walk, they're taking a risk. So there are responsibilities that come with accepting to have your name on an alma mater that you are hosting a convention or any cultural group or any organization that you are hosting something, if you're not going to see it through. It's not about gravitas or grandeurs or ambience or being the limelight. No, you should have the courtesy to welcome people. It's so disrespectful. I'm surprised they kept knocking at that door. I would have just gone in my car and left. You know, so again, it goes beyond just people coming late. It starts with the host. Back to you, Nelson.
So what should the host do, Reverend Pam and Dr. Ogoji and Esther? What should the host of an event do? What are his or her responsibilities?
Let Esther go. I'll go next. I think Dr. Ogoji either dropped or something. I don't see his number on there.
Okay. So please, Esther, what should the host do in the case, I mean, to entice people to be early to his or her event?
I mean, like when I did an event, I said, I clearly put on the agenda, dinner is served at this time. Dinner served at this time, and, you know, and the event starts at this time. Like, if it's it depends on the type of event. Maybe you can give, like early, whatever, early bird was special or something like that. But if you clearly put that event stops at this time for whatever reasons, maybe that will help. If you let people know that the event really starts at this time and it ends at this time, or give them an agenda, maybe that helps or something. Because if you're doing an event and you think about the cost of the location also, they charge you per hour. But I know that Africans have gotten, I hear that most of them now own all, locations for events. So they don't respect the rules, like you can stay there as long as you want. But the hosts just need to respect themselves and respect other people.
Yes, Esther, you took that from me, that part about extending hours during an event. Yes, I've been witness to that, where the event was where the owner of the hall is African, and the event was supposed to end at 3 a.m. But at 3 a.m., people went to the manager and said, look, we still are enjoying, we started late, can you give us an extra hour? And they said, okay, give $100 and you can stay longer. And somebody comes up the $100 and the event continues to 4 o'clock. Even at 4 o'clock, it doesn't end. So the owners of the halls may also have their share of the blame, while we, the organizers, are the greatest people to be blamed because we never enforce start time and end time. So, Reverend Pan, I think you have something to say.
Yes, and that is so sad because the owners of the hall too are enabling their African people to continue to come late, and they're looking at the money. I know there was a hall, I'm not going to mention the city, that is owned by Africans, and the hall ran into problems because, first of all, people came late, and then they had more people there than they were supposed to have, and it became so rowdy, so the hall lost its license. It's just like now, we have an event coming, we are asking people to buy tickets, that there will be no ticket sales at the gate. Mark my words, there are going to be people who are going to show up there who did not buy their tickets or online. I coordinated a relatives event in Los Angeles, in a beautiful location, Castaway, more than 20 years ago. They were asked to RSVP. Some people did not. The RSVP had to do with the seating because this venue was a very expensive venue. Some people showed up. But the thing is, I instructed the people at the gate, don't turn away anybody. However, some people were so embarrassed, they themselves decided to leave because they didn't RSVP. But I had an overflow area for latecomers, for people who didn't RSVP. Even my grandfather's event that I just did in DC, people were surprised that, I was asking people to RSVP for a week, that they don't do that. I said, no, it's about organization. And so we had about 350 people RSVP, and I knew that we were going to have around 450 people because 350, but we ended up with 500. About 150 people showed up with RSVP, but that gave me what I needed to make the event go hitch free. And even the hall and the security, they said this is the first time they've had an event in that hall and they didn't have to call the cops. So you accommodate those people, not trying to enable them, but accommodating. But the people in RSVP, they did not have assigned seats. So they had to sit in overflow or open seats. So the host has to make some changes. Now that a lot of Africans now beginning to own halls, they need to take some responsibility. And I think Dr. Ogoji is back. So Dr. Ogoji, I will hand over to you and then we'll figure out how to turn on your camera. Dr. Ogoji.
Dr. Ogoji, are you with us already?
I am, but I am with the kids and there'll be some noise in the background, but that's okay.
Okay,
so,
go ahead.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I got disconnected. I don't know what we're talking last prior to this.
We're talking about owners, African owners of halls that are enabling Africans to stay partying late beyond the time and accepting extra $100 an hour?
Well, again, the way I look at it is okay. We have to sit up and do the right thing. Okay. I have a friend of mine who was complaining about his school daycare. Okay. He goes to school daycare and picks his kids every time late. The daycare collects $5 per hour. She keeps doing that. After a month or two, they told her, you know what, you can't do this anymore. We don't want your money. This money is to deter you. This money is to deter you from doing this. You either get your kids by 6 or you don't come anymore. She thought they were joking until she was kicked out of daycare. Then she got stranded. So it's okay to charge some money. $100 per hour doesn't make sense. Make it $500.
That's true.
Per hour. Make it expensive. Then they'll be willing to get out there as quickly as possible. $100 means nothing.
That's
so
a good
the reason to charge money is to deter people from doing it, and also to, accommodate people who need some little more time. But if that money is not enough to deter you from finishing late, then you should be kicked out. If you do it all the time, then you should be in trouble. So again, I would say make the money $500 and no more than 2 hours. But no more than 1 hour. You can pay extra $500, but no more than 1 hour. After that, you should go out. And that way, they will learn to do things in time, and then they won't want to pay that money because it's expensive.
Good suggestion.
No, thanks. Let me ask this blanket question. We grew up respecting time, going to school on time, going to church services on time. When we grew up, what happened? Where did the disconnects come from? That it is we adults who go late to these events, who make these events start late. What happened between when we were kids going to school and when we grew up?
Can I tell you what happened?
Sure.
From a Nigerian perspective, okay?
Yes.
We worship money, wealth, no matter how the money is gotten from. You have money, you are a big boy. So the culture in Nigeria in the past 10 years has been the rich people don't come to function on time. They want to drive a big car, call everybody sitting down. They walk in and they'll call their name. Chief Dr. Papa is here. Or all those things. So,
that is so true.
I'm telling you, so I go to parties in Nigeria when I go there. The big man will drive by, nobody there to go away. Nobody there go away. The only one to come when the party is fully packed with people. So, and now, what people do now is that if you're having a function, wanted to come, you go and pay some dance group. I'm not kidding. You pay some dance group of women to come and sit down there and see the place is full. Then people walk in. People want to be recognized when they walk in and then sing praises. In that way, they'll come late. And if they'll drive by the event 4 or 5 times, nobody they go to somewhere else. So I think that's what happened. Worship of money and no respect of time. Money is everything.
It is unfortunate that should be the way. Yeah, Reverend Pam, what happened between when we were children going to school and keeping time, and now that we're grown up and not keeping time anymore? What happened?
Let's hear from Esther first. The top of the hour is approaching.
Yes. Esther?
I don't really know. I think Reverend mentioned, I'm thinking that, you know what he said, we talk about we sticking with our culture. You know, I think when you don't get outside of the box, you know, you imbibe whatever is circulated in that environment. If it's toxic, you become part of it. If it's good, you become part of it. So a lot of us have stayed within a certain community. And that probably also goes, I'm just like thinking in my head, because if you have certain things else you do in your life, like volunteer work and other stuff for ministry, like Pam has and other businesses, you will probably not really be going to those places that don't respect your time, because people say time is life. I've come to realize, people say time is money. For me, I've come to realize time is life. This moment, this 1 hour we spend together, I will never get it again. I've stopped everything I'm doing. People I could be praying for, or sleeping, or whatever, taking care of my children, just for this. And time is life. And we have grown up in a culture where you know, not back home or wherever or here or back home, that we are in that box and we don't have any other. A lot of us don't do anything. That's where we get our validation. So some of us get it from within that box. So we behave in that box, whatever way to get that validation. That's what I'm thinking. I don't really know.
The one-eye king to the blind.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Reverend Pam, you take from here and link up with the top of the hour.
Yes, thank you, my dear sister. You know, it is such a shame. I am telling you, it is such a shame. Some of us left, you know, we did so much, we worked so hard, went through so much to get away from the village or from the lifestyle that we're living in Africa. And when we got here, we decided to bring Africa with us. We did not leave it behind. Okay, I am pro-Africa. I am Afrocentric. I believe that Africa is the last frontier. I believe it's the future. And that's why on March the 30th, we are going to be turning the lights back on Africa. However, if you come here, take advantage to learn the good things, not the bad, not the ugly, but the good things. Some come here and they copy everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some of them get involved in drugs, some of them get involved in prostitution, some of them get involved in, you know, criminal activity. Pick the good things and remember who you are. Remember your identity. Remember where you came from. But the bad habits that we have back home, don't continue them here. And like I tell people all the time, I like to use this aquarium. If you're the biggest fish in that aquarium, it's time for you to get out. You know why? If you don't get out, you're going to be drained. And without being filled, you will not have anything to give back because you are the biggest fish in the tank. All the other small fishes are looking for you to protect them. They are draining you. They're getting knowledge out of you. Who is teaching you? Who are you learning from? Who are you learning from? So it's time for us to get out of our comfort zone. I'm not saying that we should stay away from our classmates or home people. That's not what I'm talking about. There is always something to learn. The biggest room in the house is the room for improvement and learning. When you learn, you improve. No knowledge gain is lost. No knowledge. I just had the pleasure and the privilege of editing Nia Song's book, which is coming up, which is going to be released on March the 30th during our Brain Bank Summit and Charity Ball. There were about 10 words that I had never heard of, that were not in my vocabulary. I had to look it up. Those are 10 new words that I've added to my vocabulary. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. So there's always something to learn, always something. I remember one of my neighbors about 15 years ago, she's from India. I was doing an event and she came to help me. This woman told me how to clean cocoyams without itching. She told me how to wash them. He said, just put salt in the water. And since then, I've not forgotten. This was more than 20 years ago. You can always learn something. There's always room for improvement. So let's stop hanging around the same people all the time, doing the same thing. Like whoever said this thing that is insanity, I don't know who, but everybody quotes it. That insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. We cannot keep going late to events, going late to appointments, doing agendas that we don't follow, and expect that our people will automatically start coming early to events. No, we cannot have different results. We have to change it. On March the 30th, everybody that's under the sound of my voice, except you're out of the country, you need to be at College Park Marriott, the Chesapeake Ballroom, because that's where we're going to be turning the lights on Africa, and we're going to keep that lights on. We are having our inaugural summit, Africa's Brain Bank Summit and Charity Ball. We have Children of Africa and African descent. Every panelist is an African. Every speaker is an African. The keynote speaker is the African Union Ambassador to the United States, which is so symbolic because African Union, it's a body that tried, and as I found out recently, Harold Celestia, whose relative will be there, was very instrumental in forming the African Organization of African Union, which is now AU. His statue was just unveiled last month in Addis Ababa, you know, but it is so important and symbolic that she will be a keynote speaker. And then our guest speaker is Dr. Mena Demesi from Ethiopia. She is the current vice president of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. And she's so excited. The ambassador is so excited about this event, about being there. And we have an elite panelist made of all Africans that are going to be there. I'm not going to be announcing their names on the air right now. And we're also going to have a closed-door workshop on Saturday morning with African brains talking about working together to develop and serve Africa and Africans. It's action time. Enough talk, enough talking. On our show, on Africaonline show, we raised awareness about issues that affect Africans, seek solutions to those issues to make progress. At Africa's Brain Bank, we implement those solutions. It's action. It's action time. It's not about talking, it's about working together to develop Africa and Africans and to serve Africa and Africans. We don't want no big man there. We are all servants. We're looking for servant leaders. But so I have packed my bags. I know Dr. Ogoji has booked his flight, bought his ticket. Nia Song doesn't need to book any flight. He doesn't need to gas up his car. Esther, you're in the DMV area, right?
Yes, I'm in the DMV area.
Oh, okay, and you bought your ticket, right?
Yeah, the very day.
I know, within 24
hours. I was
hours.
introduced to you all.
Exactly. So please, every African that you know, get them to buy their tickets and be there, because this is going to be a trailblazing event. It's not just a party. We are going to learn. We are going to feast. We are going to dance. Skipper, I met with him 3 days before that video was released, and he captured the vision. That is just an appetizer of what he will deliver on that day. This is a very anointed young man. He is so gifted and so talented and so anointed. I am going to bring 2 pairs of shoes, because no shoes is going to come between me and the dance floor on that night. But you know, so I want to encourage everybody. Dr. Ogoji, encourage all your African friends, relatives, even your enemies, if you have any, to buy their ticket. Near some, you're in the DMV area, get all your Liberian people, all your Sobans, all Africans of whatever descent, people, even African Americans. As a matter of fact, it's open to everybody. Everybody is welcome. White people, yellow people, green people, they are welcome. Let them just buy their ticket or get a sponsorship, you know. The sponsorship levels are there. Those are the minimum amounts we need to effect those projects. But let me go to the topic. Starting tomorrow, we are going to be talking about introducing a new currency for all of Africa. You know, so some people are talking about just the French speaking. No, we need, Africa needs to stay united. So we're going to be talking about introducing a new currency for Africa. It won't be mandatory, just like the euro. Not everybody uses it, but I think that would promote unity and collaboration and development among Africans and Africa. And I see my brother Felix just dialed in. So I think we would like to hear from Brother Felix. Brother Felix, you can turn on your video so we can see you. Over to you, Niason.
Thank you so much, Reverend Pam. We look forward to people buying their tickets and being in Washington, D.C. at the University of Maryland Marriott Hotel for the Africa event. We look forward. We are expecting everybody. Please don't forget, as Reverend Pam said, there will be no ticket sales at the door. When you come, all the seats will have been taken. You may end up standing up. But as we're talking African time and punctuality, we want to emphasize, please, we start the event on time, and it's going to be, well, if you come late, you have yourself to blame. don't blame Africa Online, because we will not accept lateness. You will not even have a seat if you come late. That said, yes, I think, did you say somebody came in?
Felix.
Yes?
Felix.
Yeah, Felix. Yeah, Felix, good afternoon and welcome. He may be muted. Okay, so we'll continue the program
Let me unmute. Yeah, Brother Felix, we can't hear you.
That's right.
You're muted. Unmute your
phone.
Yeah, he's on that. I think he's.
Yes. Okay, while he gets that arranged, the other question I wanted to ask is, when we are not late for an event, when we don't start late, the other aspect that becomes a problem to almost many attendees is the speeches and the length of such speeches. People, it looks like we Africans like talking and talking on end. So what should we do? Even when we start our event on time and people start making those long speeches, what is the best way to go to do it, to continue the event so that we end on time? Esther, I can hear you.
I don't think, this is just a question, a technical question. I don't think if you dial in on the phone, you can turn the camera on because you dial in on the phone. I think you got it right.
No, that's audio. If you dial in, but if you Zoom, then you can dial in. No, then you can turn it on. Yes. Okay. But we give all those options because we have viewers abroad, you know, so they can dial in for free.
Okay, great. Much appreciated.
Yes, you got lost.
I mean, yeah. You know, ask the question again because this is a very interesting topic. I think, okay, you're talking about speeches. One of the things I found out is that people don't just know. Sometimes we underestimate the power of education and taking seminars and workshops or coaching. Mm-hmm. I think most of the time people don't just know. Because if you're training, sometimes you have what they talk about, the 90-minute elevator speech or 60 seconds, get your point in 30 seconds or less. Some of these things you experience when you go out there and begin to meet other environments where you are trained to present your case and within a time frame. And I think that maybe when we have forums like this, if we begin to introduce things like that to teach people, because a lot of people don't just know. A lot of people you will speak on a topic and you give great points that somebody should move on. Somebody's gonna come next right after you or two persons after you and repeat the exact same thing you just said, as if though those points didn't echo. So I think sometimes it's just a matter of education. Maybe we can have workshops and forums that can help people with what to say, how long to say it, and just to move on. And facilitators. It's also good to train. I'm a trained facilitator. I'm a Stephen Minister at Free Temple, AME, etc., etc. And you learn to facilitate. So maybe those environments can begin to help our people because sometimes they don't just know. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Pam. What should we do with the speeches? Some are endless. Some are repeating what all other speakers have talked about. Apparently, nobody was listening, or they were doing selective listening, as I like to say all the time.
Well, it depends on the type of event. If somebody is inviting you to a corporate event or a seminar, you should expect speeches. You should. Multiple speeches. However, sometimes guests and participants or attendees want to impose what the host should do or the organizer should do. I am sorry. If somebody is hosting something and they're organizing something and they invite you, show them respect to follow their agenda. They are the host. You are a guest. Don't come to somebody's event and try to dictate how it should go. There are even some participants that would even want to go and be giving the MC instructions or the DJ what music to play. it's okay to make a request, but don't insist that somebody should play your music. So if the event, for example, is a fundraiser, expect people to come, say something, and then raise money. Don't get angry when they are raising the funds, because that's what they invited you to. If it's an awards night, expect that people will be giving awards and receiving awards. And that usually is accompanied by speech. Don't get angry, especially if you're not the recipient, because if you are receiving an award, you would like to say something. You know, so it depends on the type of event. And then there's some people that just ramble and ramble and ramble, and they just keep talking and talking, and they don't learn, or they don't even, there's no point, there's no message. Those kind of people, all I'll just say is that pray for them, because, you know, those kind of people, there are some people that, like I was telling somebody in Nigeria during one of my trips, I said the most dangerous person is somebody who don't know Jack, and they don't know that they don't know Jack, or that who don't know anything, and they don't know that they don't know anything, and they keep claiming that they know everything, especially somebody in public office. Because this kind of people, but Kingsley probably know who I'm referring to. I don't want to say her name on the air, but there was somebody in office that had the most horrible English vocabulary and phonetics I've ever heard. But you could not correct this person. As far as she was concerned, she knew it better than the Queen of England. You know, so I think somebody else just joined, so let's give them that opportunity. And yeah, so I'm going to step away for a minute. Somebody at 301 just joined.
Okay, Felix, I don't know if Felix finally made it in.
That's me, I'm struggling.
Oh, there you are.
Just struggling, guys. Let me get myself together. I'm just struggling.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, while you get yourself together, let us bring you this news item, which we already know about, the crashing of the Ethiopian airliner, which we heard this morning. So Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has declared Monday as a day of national mourning for all the victims of the crash. He said in a statement that the crash will be investigated and, quote, communicated promptly, end of quote. The Ethiopian Airlines jet crashed shortly after takeoff from Addis Ababa Airport, killing all the 149 people on board. The airline said 149 passengers and 8 crew, that makes 157, were on flight ET302 from the Ethiopian capital to Nairobi in Kenya. It said 32 Kenyans, 18 Canadians, 8 Americans, and 7 British nationals were among the passengers. The crash happened at 8:44 local time, 6 minutes after the months-old Boeing 737 MAX 8 took off. Another plane of the same model was involved in a crash less than 5 months ago, when a Lion Air flight crashed into the sea near Indonesia with nearly 190 people on board. So that is the sad news from East Africa, the plane crash in Ethiopia, killing all 149 people on board. And this one we're just getting from the BBC now. State media in Algiers are saying that a plane carrying Algeria's ailing president, Abdelaziz Bouteflika, has landed near Algiers. The 82-year-old leader spent 2 weeks in a hospital in Geneva, and since having a stroke in 2013, he has rarely been seen in public. Reports said earlier that the president's plane flew to the Swiss city on Sunday before returning to Bofarik military air base outside of Algiers. Mr. Bouteflika's announcement that he would stand for re-election next month sparked huge protests across the country. The protests are still going on, and he's been in power for more than 20 years and wants another term. So the people are protesting against that. Felix, if you got yourself together now, we're talking African time and punctuality. Are you with us already? Are you ready to speak now? Have you got yourself together?
Yes, I am.
So, African time and the punctuality. You often attend these African events in the Washington metro area. They never start on time. What is your take on African time? Is there African time in the first place?
CPT means colored people time. To me, it means Cameroonian people time.
Oh, I like that. Acronyms are good. Yeah.
Caribbean people time, color people time, Cameroonian people time. My take on this is, for the most part, African people really believe that they can afford to go late to an event so long as whoever has that event is a fellow African. It could be an African church, it could be an African school, it can be an African business. The African person who patronizes that occasion will afford to be late. If you're going to a white man's school or to the university early, you regular job, you go late. The Cameroonian person owns that job, you think you can go late. Cameroonian person's church, you think you can go late. I think we take our own people for granted and we just never time conscious.
Very bad, isn't it?
I experienced that a lot.
Yeah, now that being said, we clock in on time for work, we clock out on time after work. Why can't we get that into our skins to know that my event is starting at 9 p.m., you have to be there on time, so that together we can do whatever we have to do and go away. Why do we go early to work but late to events?
That's $1 million question.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Have your say. Or any other person that has joined the program, please have your say. Tell us what you know about African time. What should we do to end it being used so rampantly around? Anybody else? If not, Felix,
you know, it's so bad. The situation is so bad. Right now, when we have weddings, we do 2 types of invitation. The invitation card to the Cameroonian community and the invitation card to the American community. If the wedding starts at 5 o'clock, the invitation to the Cameroonians will have to say 3 o'clock. The invitation to the Americans will say 5 o'clock. Because for Cameroonians, they use exactly. If you give them the exact time, you know they're going to be 2 hours late. And we do that consistently. So if you have the same invitation time for both the Cameroonian community and the American community, it's going to be bad because you will have American people show up and wait 2 hours. The DJ does not come on time. The decorators do not come on time. You believe that, don't you?
Well, of course I do, but it's wrong. It's a wrong thing to believe in. It should not be a standard. It should not be a standard. It should be an exception. So Felix again, here I go. One of the things that we've noticed is that when events even start on time, you were talking about that before you came in, people have that tendency of making long speeches after speeches, after speeches, after speeches. Are these speeches also prolonging the duration of the event, or is it that we could do otherwise and have the event start on time and end on time?
We could do otherwise, have the event start on time and end on time. Sometimes those speeches are a little bit too long-winded and they might not just, they are a little bit too long-winded.
People repeat the same thing over and over.
And also, don't take this the wrong way for the religious people. You have a situation where there's a pastor who would preach and preach and preach. And then the pastor would turn and say, and now let's pray. Really. You've been talking for 30 minutes, and then you turn around now and say, and then let's pray. And then now he prays for another 20 minutes. All of that is not necessary. If you say, let's pray, maybe you could have done that all in maybe in 20 minutes, but you get the microphone and you just, we're a captive audience. There's not much we can do. We just sit down and listen to you. And you just talk and talk and talk, and then you go and let's pray.
I thought that pastors learn public speaking, the art of public speaking. You have to target your audience, understand your audience, and give it to them immediately. Yes, Reverend Pam, I'm not cutting you. I'm not leaving you out. Yes, so I was just trying to make the point that sometimes they think that the audience is not attentive enough, so they have to repeat the points over and over. Reverend Pam, I'm not directing that to you.
Okay, I want to say something, but we have somebody that's not spoken. It's a 301 number.
Yeah, we're trying to invite, but the person is not picking up. Or is not trying to. It's not speaking.
No problem then. Okay, if that person is, he just wants to
just listening.
Oh, okay, just for the record, I'm not a religious person. You know, I'm a child of God and I'm a servant of God. So my brother, first of all, Brother Felix, when are you going to show up at the event on March the 30th? Before you talk about it, when are you going to show up?
Very early.
No, what is very early? When are you going to show up?
Very early in the evening or very early to
I'll do like an American. I'm not going to do CPT.
Okay.
Okay. The event starts at 6 o'clock, and we're going to start on time, 6 to 7.
I'll be there at 6 o'clock.
Is the red carpet? You should actually come at 5 because you are part of the team. You don't come as a guest.
I can be there at 5. If Reverend Pam says be there at 5, I'll be there at 5.
Yeah, and Reverend Pam will be checked into that hotel on Monday, the Monday before the event. That's how early I'm coming. I'm coming in on Monday. But anyway, yeah, so thank you. That was a side comment. Okay, as far as the pastors or preaching goes, everybody has their own anointing. You know, we go to the movies or we watch movies for 2 hours, 90 minutes. We go to parties and party all night. We don't want to give God even 10% of the time. There are people that party all night. I have nothing against that. I'll be partying all night on March the 30th at the Chesapeake Ballroom, and I'll challenge anybody on the dance floor. So I have no problem with that. But Sunday morning, I'm going to have service in my suite, or I'll look for a space in the hotel. I'm trying to work that out. But what I'm saying is, if we can party for 6 hours non-stop, why can't we give God 10% of that 6 hours? Why can't we? Or if we can go to other recreational activities, whether it's sports or go to restaurants. So what is so difficult in being in the presence of the Lord for more than 30 minutes? By the way, it depends on what the pastor is preaching. There are some people that are not doing what God has called them to do. Maybe God called them to be an evangelist, they decided to become a preacher. Or God called them to be a pastor, they decided they want to be a teacher. Or they decide to be an evangelist. When you think you are doing God's work and you're not obeying God 100%, you are in disobedience, and He doesn't anoint that. So when an anointed man of God or woman of God is preaching, you will not even look at your time. You will not be looking at your clock. BCA USA, they party all night, then they go to after party, but they're in church. The Sunday service is more populated than the General Assembly. What does that tell you? It has nothing to do with me though, don't get me wrong. It's the presence of the Lord in the service. People come there and they stay there for 3-4 hours. They don't want to leave. So it depends on who is speaking. There are some people, talking about speeches, there are some people that are boring when they are giving speech, people fall asleep. So I don't want to take too much time here, so we have 4 minutes. Let me let you give the others the opportunity to give the last word.
Yeah, Dr. Goji, yeah, I believe you are still there with us. Your last word on African time and punctuality.
Well, African time is a concept that needs to be discouraged under all circumstances. The earlier we work and learn how to work with time, the better. The earlier we appreciate things like time, personality, people, charity, and less about money, the better. So Africa needs to wake up and discourage lateness and tardiness unnecessarily.
Felix, I know you just came in, but I know you have a last word to say.
I think it's in our DNA, but we have to improve.
In our
just
DNA.
Something about that. It's just something that we all do. It's just really bad.
Esther, I believe you have your last word.
I think we need to keep talking about it and encouraging people not to do it, because, like I said, the more we talk about it, and then we need to practice it. We need to have invitations and stick to it. It pains the first few times you start it. It's gonna be painful, but I know situations where I behaved in a certain way. I went back to that country or location or that community, and you see that the change began to affect so many people. So we need to do it. We can talk about it all we want. If we don't do it, we'll be talking about the same topic in 20 years. And I think about whether it's a church or a school, I think the thing is the start time and the end time, really matters. Whether people talk for long or not, if you start where you're supposed to start and end where you're supposed to end, you will have more success in the next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, Reverend Pam, how do you land this plane?
Do we have the other guests? Do they want to weigh in before I give my parting words?
Okay. Anybody else wants to say something, please?
Oh, okay.
We're about wrapping up the program, but I want people to share their views.
No problem, but thank you for dialing in. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. March the 30th is an opportunity for every one of you to show up on time. And let these people, let the latecomers know that you were there on time. By the time they get there, those who will be coming at 7, the summit would have started already. So they're gonna come. Well, we're gonna send reminders about it starting on time, but I want to encourage everybody on this call, encourage someone to buy their ticket and to be there. And today, Brother Felix, you are on that promo team. And right after this show, we have dedicated Sundays to promoting this event. You and the rest of your gang make some noise, some vibe, some hype about this event. Share the video. Skipper did an amazing job. Esther, go on there, let them know you bought your ticket within 24 hours of getting the event. Brother Kingsley, let them know you bought your ticket, you booked your hotel, and you bought your flight. Niason, let them know you'll be walking from Bowie to Hydesville, and you bought your ticket. Everybody, let them know. Let's make some noise and wake up Africa. Over to you, Niason.
Thank you so very much. African time and punctuality, but also in the midst of all this, we don't forget the women. They were celebrating International Women's Day last Friday, if that was the 8th, I believe, and this was adopted by the United Nations on March 8, 1975. And you wouldn't believe that all this even came about just because women have been struggling all through the ages for their rights. The women in Russia did not start voting until 1917. It is 3 years later, in 1920, that women were given the right to vote through the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It is on that note that we're going to wrap up this program, but inviting you to continue watching, following us on WhatsApp. The topic has been announced, a new currency for Africa, a necessity. So please, we will be publishing the topic tomorrow. So please dial in, go into our WhatsApp group and participate. A new currency for Africa, a necessity. Thank you all so much for being with us this Sunday, and good afternoon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.